You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver. What the hell is that? Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast. This is the second episode that we are going to get out to you guys this week. We're going to try our diggity damnedest to give everyone shorter episodes, but we're going to up our episodes to 2 episodes a week. So you're going to get one released sometime on the weekend, and then another one will come out maybe Tuesday, Wednesday. You're just going to have to stay tuned. If you're not subscribed to the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast, go do that on any of your fine podcast apps or YouTube, because then you'll get some notifications. Hey, a new episode is released. Hey, another one is released. Sweet baby bears, I can't believe it. 2 episodes a week? Good stuff. Good shit. Oh, so excited. I'm excited for the P3. I am excited for this episode. We have a lot to cover tonight. And, a lot of fallout from what happened with AEW All Out. A lot of interesting NXT and WWE stuff we got to cover too, as well as a much anticipated Stump the Chumps. I do believe we're still chumps. We're not back to champs yet. We still have a little bit to go.
Yeah.
Yes, the great interrupter. What do you have to say?
I was going to say, before we get into the wrestling talk, I want to hear the rest of Tom's story with that carpet dragger.
Since this is a new episode, let's go ahead and say I am one of your hosts, Ransom the Mad King, joined, as I'm sure you already know because people are jumping the gun here, by Poot the Bard and our Chooserweight Tag Team Champions, Beef the Legend and Tiger Bomb Tom. If you haven't listened to our previous episode, go do that. Listen the whole way up until the end, because our very own Tiger Bomb Tom told an interesting story about an altercation he had with some grumpy old man. Now, let's find out how that got resolved.
So I stopped and had proceeded to stand in disbelief that this guy,
agog.
I was beside myself. I was like,
he was aghast.
I was like, is this person serious? Like, how else do you expect me to get your giant piece of fucking carpet up your driveway? Besides dragging it, because the thing is twice the length of me. Like, what the hell? So I proceeded to say to him, I was like, you can always schedule a pickup if it's damaged and get it returned. I was like, and somebody can come pick it up for you. Hopefully not me. But he's like, oh, just set it down. I set it down right outside his garage. I went back down to the truck to get the last package that was coming in. And I saw him, I saw him kind of moving stuff out of the way in his garage, trying to figure out where the hell he was going to put this giant ass rug. And I proceeded to say, where would you like it at? So I took the high road and I dragged it inside next to his Porsche because, reasons. And then took the other 6-foot piece and popped it over there and called it a day. And I before I left, I said to him, I was like, just an FYI, if you ever get large stuff that says 2-man lift or a team lift on it, there's no second person. It's me and a dolly. That's it. I was like, I'm your 2-man lift. I was like, so I do what I can. I do the best that I can. He's like, I get it. So I think there was at least a little bit of understanding on his part by the end of it. But it really just took me back for a second. And I'm like, common fucking sense. And here comes the segue. Common sense would tell you that if you have somebody in Bryan Danielson who admittedly, when he gave his promo after the end of All Out and everything, after his debut and all that stuff, he even said, he's like, I know this may garner some boos, but I liked where I work. I liked where I worked before, and, meaning WWE. If you have somebody that said, hey, I liked where I work, but I still wanted to come to this other company for reasons, whatever they may be, you're obviously missing the ball somewhere. You're
That's so funny.
obvi-
I said that same thing before you came in.
Yeah. I apologize if I do repeat anything from last episode because I wasn't on it until the very end. But again, common sense.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to adapt. Now, I was thinking about this today as a discussion point in regards to like you guys were talking about, like, would we get the Attitude Era again? Because, look what happened last time they had major competition. But I agree with Ransom's point. You're not going to get it. It's not the same times or anything like that. The thing is, at some point, something's got to give. And whether that be Vince finally giving in and just saying, okay, you know what, they are acknowledging that AEW is legitimate competition. Because I'm sorry, he can sit there and say they're not competition and they're not worried about him. Behind the scenes, he is sitting there going, how the fuck did we lose this person and this person? And like, maybe
he's not, someone is.
If he's not,
people around him probably are.
I was gonna say, if he's not, somebody damn well better be, because that's just like being on the Titanic and going, it's fine, it's okay, it's a little bit of water, no big deal.
You want to know what the coolest thing about AEW that I've kind of noticed with the debut of Ruby Soho and Bryan Danielson?
What's that?
So, like, Adam Cole, his name is Adam Cole, right?
No,
what's his name?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not well, but still, I think it was the reason that he can be called Adam Cole no matter where he goes is I think he owns the rights to that name.
That's for him.
And the Bebe thing, because he was kind of the genesis of independent wrestlers being like, smart with their gimmicks that we're getting over and going, all right, I better spend the money to copyright this or to get the rights to it. So that they can
Austin
just
Jenkins.
Austin Jenkins, thank you. Anyway, my point is,
what a name.
Yeah, right. Well, that's almost as good as Michael.
Jenkins,
that's almost
baby.
as good as Michael Hickenbotham. So my point is, though, like, AEW has the soul of an indie because, for example, Bryan Danielson coming in and calling himself the American Dragon, Ruby Soho coming in and calling herself Ruby Soho. If they left AEW, I don't think that AEW would fight and be like, no, the American Dragon is ours. Like,
no.
Ruby Soho is ours. You can't do that. And that is one of the beautiful things about it. And again, it's another thing that kind of lends to the like quality of life that these performers have, these wrestlers have, versus in WWE, which is why, now to be fair, Killer Cross wouldn't work because we can't say kill on WWE, so it has to be Carrion Cross, because Carrion, which is rotting, decaying flesh, way more family friendly than Killer.
We'll see. I was gonna say, how many people would actually know that? So that's
fair. Also, they spelled Carrion with a K; it's spelled with a C. But go on.
But that goes to your point. Just like you said, you can't say Killer because we're trying to be family friendly. We're in the fucking 50th year of the PG era here.
Oh.
Like honestly, like if you really think about it.
Oh.
Really think about it. The way that the WWE product has changed over the years. In the 80s and stuff, it was what it was, all the wrestling then. In the late 80s, early 90s, it was kind of, very, very gimmicky and, and they even admittedly were kind of like, okay, well, this isn't necessarily working.
Pig farmers, a garbage man, and a repo man. Come on.
Pretty much,
listen,
yeah. Everything.
Don't you put Repo Man's name in your mouth with a bad tone. I fucking love the Repo Man.
Hey, man, I love the repo man.
Better than the
saying,
goon.
he was
Better than the fucking goon.
Oh,
I'll say
the goon.
that.
Oh.
But you had all that. Then you had the Attitude Era. Then after that, you had a little bit of ruthless aggression, whatever. And then you had basically the PG era. But like the fact that the PG era has been going on forever now, it's it's kind of stale. It's time for it's time to change things up again, and that's where I think common sense would tell you, like, you have to change with the times.
If I may,
before beef goes on his booze-soaked rant.
No, hold on.
No.
This is.
Give me one. No, give me
gone.
1 sec. Relax. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Cat.
I wanted to say the reason that the Attitude Era or something as a reasonable facsimile won't work is because by today's standards, that's kismet. That's nothing. That's neutered. That's all I wanted to say.
Well,
Beef, and you have the floor.
So I was going to mention, because I think that this fits in well with Tom's point about not really getting it, and even going back to guys like Lagoon and Repo Man. Reported by Ringside News and confirmed by Wrestling Observer, WWE's apparent pitch to Adam Cole was that he'd become a manager. The report states that Keith Lee was set to turn heel, and Cole would have went a name change and paired him with Leo Rush, like they did with Bobby Lashley. Holy fuck!
What?
Like, if you're Vince McMahon,
Wow,
and you're like, all right, this guy's definitely leaving for AEW. These are his best friends in the world. How can I keep him here? And your pitch is, hey man, you want to wrestle? You one of the best wrestlers on the planet, want to manage? That shows that Vince McMahon has no idea how to handle wrestling at all anymore.
You know what? And I'll say this too, because I remember this kind of harkens back to what Ransom said about what the fuck. Sorry, I'm just looking at the Discord. Anyways.
Stay on target.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to, and you'll see why if you look at it. But
No.
Yes. But no, this goes back to something that Vince said a long time ago whenever Ted Turner was, getting into it, and he called up Vince and said, "Hey Vince, I'm in the wrestling business." And he said, "Okay, well, I'm in the sports entertainment business. We're not in the same businesses." If that's Vince's mindset, that, we're in the sports entertainment, we don't need to worry about wrestlers or whatever. Like, well, then fucking you need to really reevaluate this. You need to approach this with a common sense sort of thing and say, okay, the closest thing that we had to AEW, which everybody seems to be wanting to go to, was NXT. Why you would do this rebranding and everything like that, and why you would neuter Adam Cole like that and relegate him to and pitch to him being a manager, that's completely off the fucking beaten path. Like that, there is no common sense whatsoever in that. It boggles my mind how they keep mishandling everybody. Like everybody that you could have been having stars in, like Keith Lee, like Karrion Kross, like to bring up the undefeated NXT champion and have on his Raw debut lose to Jeff fucking Hardy. That shows me how out of touch and how much Vince McMahon is throwing common sense out the window. I don't know. We've talked about it before. Short of Vince's death or him either being pushed aside because we know he won't step aside, I don't see how the hell WWE can continue to stay relevant and not go further down the depths of being just stale. And again, AEW is competition to WWE. Whether either side wants to say, oh, well, yeah, we're competition or not, everybody can say, oh, well, we're not competition, we're an alternative. Okay, no, you have two shows there. Listen, when you're taking wrestlers literally that are jumping ship from one company to another, that's competition, whether you want to admit it or not. Now, again, TNA/Impact, I don't consider them to ever have been on the level of WWE.
Nope.
In the quality of production, creative, anything like that. They've kind of always felt a step below. Obviously, Ring of Honor, the wrestling, yes, the production, everything, nowhere near it. AEW legitimately feels, to coin the phrase, as good or better than No, they really are. They're on par with WWE. Like, they're still new, and yes, they still have some growing pains that they're going through. We've talked about that before. But give credit where credit's due. Look at what they're doing. Look at the talent they're acquiring. Look at the youth of their roster overall. Yes, you have journeymen like Jericho there, and Paul White or whatever, and even to a degree, like Billy Gunn. He's there, but he's basically more so a coach than he is. He's the one. He's an ass man. Anyways.
So.
Oh, look, sorry.
No, go ahead, Ransom.
So I have two things I want to say here real quick. One, to Beef's comment about Vince's pitch to Adam Cole, right there is proof in the pudding that if Adam Cole would have gone to the main roster, that would have probably still happened.
Yep.
And how many times... I understand it's a dead horse that we have beaten to a pulp to where it no longer resembles a horse, but it bears repeating one last time. How many times did we say, we're so scared about Adam Cole going to the main roster? Please don't go to the main roster. When he goes to the main roster, it's going to be a disaster. Right there, that's proof in the pudding right there that if he would have gone to the main roster, disaster. Utter disaster. Probably the worst disastrous NXT call-up that ever could have taken place would have been Adam Cole going to the main roster and becoming a manager for Keith Lee.
And the problem is he could talk. The problem is he can talk. That's the problem.
It just still though his ring work.
The problem. That's funny.
What a hot mess. The second point goes back to Poot's thing about AEW. If these guys decide to leave, they're going to be able to take their names with them. And the main difference there between AEW and WWE is these people are contracted commodities to WWE. They are contracted characters. And Vince wants to trademark those characters. Why? Good Lord, I don't know. We saw what happened when they tried to bring out the characters of Razor Ramon and Diesel after Kevin Nash and Scott Hall went to WCW. You can't just put different people in these characters and send them out. It's not going to work. People are going to shit all over it. I don't understand the point of trademarking characters and names, because what are you going to do when they leave? All you're going to do is prevent them from using those names somewhere else, because they are contracted commodities to WWE. AEW, I truly believe that to them and to Tony Khan, these people are not contracted commodities. They are partners. They are partners that Tony Khan is working with to develop a successful company. And the way to develop a successful company is not to trademark these people into their deaths so as to blackmail them and threaten them and say, well, if you leave, you can't be Adam Cole. You're going to have to be Adam or Austin Jenkins or Andrew Jenkins, Jingleheimer Schmidt. Like, it's not going to work. What are you going to do? Leave? AEW is not going to do that. They're partnering with these people. So if they do decide to go somewhere else, why they would, I don't know. But if they do, they're not going to be copyrighted to death. I feel like that right there is another just glaring inclination of how WWE sees these people and how AEW sees these people. One are contracted commodities, the other are partners. That's how you need to do it. Sorry, go ahead.
The problem is that WWE, read as Vince McMahon, gets locked on target, unavoidably so. Look at Cena. When he decided that, okay, it's John Cena and Randy Orton, I am not budging. The next two people that we are putting over are John Cena and Randy Orton. What did we get? A decade and a half of John Cena and Randy Orton. When Vince McMahon decides, hey, it's going to be Lesnar and Reigns, what do we get? Lesnar and Reigns. And sure, there's lots of very interesting stuff happening in the undercard. Cesaro, Rollins, You know, the Shield. You know, back whenever they made their debut. You know, the Mysterios. I'll even give them a shout out. You know, Damian Priest. All these guys are 100% great at what they do, and they're fun to watch. But at the end of the day, Vince has his pecking order. He says, okay, here's who we're going to focus on. Here's who the audience is going to see. That's it. And McIntyre, I think, is in that short list too. Despite not being in the main event scene right now, he will be shorter, you know, sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is, it's the Vince's problem is that he has no flexibility. Tony Khan is nothing if not flexible. And here's a great example. Bryan Danielson was not supposed to debut until the Arthur Ashe Stadium show here coming up in a couple of weeks. Tony Khan said, hey, you know what? We're going to have way more pay-per-view buys than we've ever had. We're going to have the eyes of the wrestling world on CM Punk's match. Let's give them something to talk about. And, you know, in doing so, you're going to capture people. You're going to get people to watch Dynamite and Rampage. As you can see by this week's Dynamite ratings, it works.
So I think we need to perhaps touch on Mr. Levesque. Poor Triple H, according to an article I think that Beef posted in the group chat, was hospitalized recently with a heart issue, cardiac issue. Is that right, Beef?
Last week. So it transpired last week. I think WWE kind of sat on it. You know, this is one of those kind of like good guy WWE. They absolutely could have dropped this on Sunday and been like, oh, hey, by the way, Triple H is in the hospital from having a cardiac event. But they didn't. So it happened last week. He underwent successful surgery last week. Seems like he's recovering now. But yes, that did in fact transpire in what was described as a cardiac event.
They didn't go into any more detail or say what exactly happened?
They did not.
Well, like I had said to you guys whenever you posted that, good Lord, please don't take him before Vince goes, because otherwise we are completely screwed and utterly screwed.
You know, I don't want to joke about somebody having a cardiac issue. I'm glad he's doing well and everything, but man, you almost wonder how much stress Triple H has to be under at this point. And I think about that as somebody who, if I put myself in his shoes, how hard this man has worked on NXT, how hard he has worked on several of these talents, training them, mentoring them, bolstering them. Like, Lord Almighty, like we've said before, NXT is probably the best programming WWE has. He puts all this effort and time. He pours his heart and soul into it. Now, Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon are going to come in and start producing it. He's losing people like Karrion Kross to the main roster, having Karrion Kross looks like some sort of weirdo. Where the hell is Scarlett? Adam Cole is gone, going to going to AEW. Vince McMahon wanted to make him a manager. Lord have mercy. What Triple H, I'm not saying what he had to do to Adam Cole, but what he did for and with Adam Cole, making him probably one of the most popular stars that NXT ever had. And this is the pitch that Vince McMahon gets to save this guy for your company, the guy that you put in so much effort into propping up. I mean, I get it. He probably didn't have to do it because Adam Cole was such a talent in and of himself, but Triple H put a lot of time and thought into his storylines and the Undisputed Era, all that stuff. Bryan Danielson, someone that Shawn Michaels trained, someone that was in the original NXT, you know, maybe even kicked off what NXT became. The stress that dude has to be under, I cannot imagine the heartbreak that Triple H sees in all of his time and effort wasted.
Well, thank God that one of his best friends is a kid expert on heartbreak.
Wow.
Well, you know, I should have said expert kid. That came out wrong. Anyway, moving on. but you're not wrong. Like the amount, and that's the thing is that like, just imagine anything that you have a passion for, and you hit it right on the head, Ransom, with the whole idea of, you know, and also think about the amount of reassurance that that Triple H probably gave to these wrestlers coming in, going, listen, you're coming into NXT. You're going to be under me. We're going to treat you right. We're going to make you look great. So when you go to the main roster, you're going to already be a rock star. And you're going to be you. And you're going to be this. And you're going to be that. And then to have that not be true, I'm sure Triple H feels like a liar. And that's got to suck.
Yeah, and you have to wonder how many of these guys wind up resenting him. And not being his fault, though. You know,
zero.
You don't
feel
think so?
I don't.
That's good.
I feel like Triple H is all, and you know, keep in mind that I am aware that he makes way more money than any of us. I think that he's kind of an everyman. Like he's kind of in our shoes, where he's sitting under a supervisor boss that probably shouldn't be where they are, taking, you know, chicken shit and making chicken salad. And doing the absolute best and doing a banger job, being noticed by like a lot of people, but not the important ones. And instead, the opposite actually being talked down to the important people by other people because of fucking politics. And you know, now you know, if I'm Triple H, you know, the whole NXT thing, combined with losing Adam Cole and seeing Adam Cole debut on AEW and seeing the reaction that everyone had, seeing how AEW is going to use him, like, you know, Ruby Soho is another one that I think that he probably laments losing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he has to be absolutely heartbroken. You know, if I'm Triple H, you know, me personally, I don't fault him at all for walking away. If he wants to say, you know what, I've done what I can do, I'm out. Like I wouldn't fault him at all, but because he's part of the family, I feel like he doesn't have that option.
Well, do you? I was gonna say, how much of it do you think, like in Adam Cole's case, because Adam Cole was still, you know, in NXT. I know. I think I can't remember if we speculated or talked about that. I think he might have taken a contract extension to finish out that feud with O'Reilly.
Yes.
But he wasn't on Raw or SmackDown yet. He was still under the NXT thumb. How much do you think, or how much of a possibility do you think it is with, you know, that Triple H may have said to Adam Cole, "Hey, listen, man. Like, I don't blame you if you want to go ahead and go. Like, you've been nothing but great to us, you know, and if you ever change your mind and want to come back, hey, you know, the door's always open," sort of thing, especially here for NXT, you know. How much do you think there was any of that? Like, Triple H almost encouraging Adam Cole to go, you know, because he knows that Adam Cole would have been grossly misused, or you know.
I honestly don't think that would have been the case either. I think, you know, if anything, Adam Cole may have said to him, "Hey, man, I'm gonna go," and Triple H would have said, "Oh, all right, well, we wish you well, buddy. Good luck." Because again, Triple H is a part of this. Triple H is inherently part of the McMahon family, and therefore, like, is, for right now, absolutely intrinsically tied to this mess. Whether or not he's happy about it, you know, I'm sure he's happy with, you know, marrying Stephanie and the life they have and the kids they have and all that. But, you know, is he happy with the whole business right now? Probably not. So, you know, I don't think he can undercut them like that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, man, I would not at all feel bad if Triple H is like, you know what, I gotta take some time, especially after this. You know, it's just wild how all of this is happening at the same time, and like, you know, surprise, surprise, this is what happened. You know.
I don't know. I can't. Hold on. I got a drinky.
Drinky.
Hydrate. So
Perfect.
To Beef's point, I feel like it could go one of two ways. I feel like Triple H could go like, all right, well, for my own personal well-being, I've got to take a step back. Like I'm having heart problems here. Like, this isn't good, man. This isn't good. I'm not even an active competitor. This is bad news bears for me. And take a step back. But I almost feel like, on the other hand, he loves the business so much that he's going to try to work his hardest regardless of what's going on above him. I feel like he's one of those guys that has that work ethic that's going to say, look, I can't stop what's going to happen when guys go to the main roster. I can try, but ultimately it falls to Vince. I can't stop it. But I can do everything in my power here to help grow new stars, to help fulfill these guys and gals' dreams. I in this little bubble here, this is where I can focus. This is where I can help. This is where I can do my best. And I almost feel like that part of him is greater than the part that would say, I gotta take a step back and walk away because I'm tired of seeing my hard work squandered. He seems like one of those guys that not only loves the business, but has that immense work ethic to say, this is where I can do good. I'm going to concentrate here, and I'm going to do my damnedest where I can.
The real question I think that we should all be asking ourselves is, if Triple H wasn't a de facto McMahon, would he be involved in AEW at this point?
I think he would be involved in the capacity that Shawn Michaels is. I think he would be involved that way. I think he'd be a trainer or maybe even head trainer, but I don't think he would be involved on the level that he's in. No way. Like, I really, like, I hate to be that kind of immediately negative, but I don't. Like, I don't think he would have the stroke and the sway and the power that he does down there. And the thing is, the thing that bums me out is that he has no play to look at McMahon. Like, McMahon goes, I want Karrion Kross. And he can't look at him and just go, no. Like, no.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
and that blows. Like, that's a
funny.
bummer.
That's funny because remember before WrestleMania 35.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Before WrestleMania 35, whenever they brought up Gargano and Ciampa and Black and Ricochet, and the stories came out about who all, actually it may have been before that even, about who all was untouchable, who Triple H absolutely, it was before that now that I think about it, but who all is untouchable on the NXT roster, and it came out that Asuka was one of those names, that Asuka was absolutely not going to go anywhere. And then, we saw what happened there.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, it sucks real fucking bad for Triple H. And like I said, as a Triple H fan, I'm really hoping that he takes time off, that he gets right, and, does the best thing for him and his family. Even if that means losing even more control to the fucking crazy old man, because at the end of the day, I think that this was going to happen anyway.
I mean, we talked about it. Like, with Vince and Bruce producing, it's not going to stop there.
It's a slippery slope.
Oh, I'm convinced it's not going to stop there.
Well, I mean,
right.
I hope I eat my words later on. I do. I hope we can record a podcast in 6 to 12 months and someone goes, Ransom, you are dead wrong, dum-dum. I would never be happier to be wrong.
Well,
but
look at the.
I'm scared.
Look at the new dog shit logo.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry.
Oh, you mean the Dude Love logo?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who actually I've seen that are like, I kind of like it. I'm excited to see where it goes, and I'm like, you're a dumb motherfucker. Like,
I've not heard that at all. I've heard nothing but like laughter at the, because again, like their demographic is 18 to whatever males. Like you ain't gonna get that with that logo. Triple H had it right. Go for the fucking metal. Go for the fucking like watch NXT because beer and Vikings and metal.
Yeah. And good catch wrestling. Like
I'm excited to see what they do with the Capitol Wrestling Center. It looks like they're actually making it look like a little arena. So that's at least something that has my interest peaked.
Right.
But I and I'll tell you what, we are going to kick it off this week, and I would probably bet I wouldn't say I bet my title, but I would put a huge bet to say that I think that Frankie Monet beats Raquel Gonzalez for the women's title this week.
Oh, probably.
On NXT.
Yeah.
Wait, that match is happening?
Yes, that match is happening this week, and I believe that this week is the premiere of the new goofy NXT. So would not shock me if this is the way that that the McMahon era starts.
Yeah, they're just new boot goofing. It's fine.
Wow.
It's just God damn.
Well, I mean, but you're probably not wrong with the whole Frankie Monet thing, because if they're willing to debut the NXT women's tag titles and hot potato them the very same night, it wouldn't surprise me if they have Frankie Monet take the women's title off of Raquel.
This is why we can't have nice things, guys. It's why we can't have nice things.
Remember, it's the scientific method, literally put in steps. Step 1, fuck around. Step 2, find out.
Agreed.
And I just don't understand. To me, it feels like purposeful sabotage. I know that's a lot of conjecture, but it really does. It feels like purposeful sabotage.
I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna put a lethal dose of the NWO. You're not.
I'm not shocked that we haven't seen the NWO in NXT.
Yeah, right. There is so much that is a problem right now with WWE, as Mick Foley gamefully pointed out, and so much going right for AEW. The only thing that I will nick AEW on currently is their time management when it comes to the weekly shows. I'll give you a for instance. This week you have Minoru Suzuki versus Jon Moxley, which I think, in my mind, and I think in a lot of other people's minds, is kind of like a marquee matchup. It was the main event of Dynamite this week, but it had all of maybe 12 minutes, and it cut off Minoru Suzuki's iconic entrance. 6 minutes of it happened in a picture-in-picture. These are things that I think that they can work on. Because again, they're not perfect, but if time management and sound production are the things that we're really kind of grilling AEW about, that tells you that they got it pretty much the rest of the way figured out.
I was gonna say
they're on the ball.
They sure as fuck got their creative figured out. Hey, letting the wrestlers have a little bit of creative freedom to, who knows these characters better than the wrestlers themselves?
Yup.
Yes,
You know
sir.
what I mean? I don't know. Just kind of seems, common sense, right?
I have to say, though, in WWE's favor, when it comes to creativity, come on. I mean, can you really beat the fact that their creative juices are off the charts with Randy Orton going into Extreme Rules as the number one contender for a title?
I love.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
If that's not creative, I don't know what is.
That young buck.
I loved.
You know.
I think it was you on Sunday, Ransom, that was you watch, it's gonna be like Randy Orton or some shit getting a title shot at Extreme Rules, and here we fucking are, Randy Orton getting a title shot at Extreme Rules.
I believe the phrasing was more something like somebody said, "Oh, can't wait to see Randy Orton whatever bullshit Extreme Rules match, this upcoming month or whatever."
The Viper.
Vintage Orton.
He's the Viper. The Apex Predator.
So this goes back to what we were saying before. I'm not sure if it I can't remember if it was recorded or not, but we said like after a certain point, like our Beef had mentioned, after a certain point that the oversaturation of seeing these same wrestlers, or even Ransom might have said it too, but seeing these same wrestlers like more than like once a week or something like that, or how many times like we see Randy Orton wrestling almost every week. Vintage Orton. Oh my God, how many times do I have to hear that before I get fucking sick of it and sick of him?
All of them. You have to hear it all the time.
Oh my God,
I groan every time I see Randy Orton in the match, knowing full well every single time I see him, I'm going to see someone thrown to the apron, pulled through the ropes, him cinch up that DDT, and give him the middle rope DDT. Every Orton match like clockwork.
Yep.
Now, I'm sure...
Don't forget about the power slam, too.
Yep. The power slam and the stand-up Orton flippity freak out. Now, I'm sure that's a thing from Vince saying, make sure every match you hit that middle rope DDT. You hit that spinning slam. Make sure you get your moves. Like, I'm sure that's what it is. But it's so repetitive and it's so oversaturated. You know it every single match. This is what you're going to see. You're going to see that DDT. You're going to see that slam, and it's. And
the thing is,
there's no excitement anymore.
Right. I was gonna say the thing is like everybody has signature moves. Like, okay, yeah, you look at all the different stuff. Like with Kenny Omega, the fucking tiger suplexes and stuff like that. The V trigger knee, things like that. Okay, but the difference between watching a WWE match versus an AEW match, like, you expect to see those certain things from people, but with WWE matches, it's so fucking formulaic in the way, like in the timing, like if you watch any Orton match, if you were to time them out, I'd be willing to lay money on it that if you had 2 10-minute matches from Orton, in both of them, probably at about, whatever, 5 minutes in, he's going to hit the power slam. 7 minutes in, he's going to hit that DDT on the middle rope. Like, it's almost like clockwork. It really, really is. And I don't know if that's more so just me being a jaded, longtime fan and that I come to expect that stuff. I don't know.
It's formulaic, man. Beef will understand this reference. WWE does call sequencing in their matches. Yeah. Like, that's what it is. You have to hit this. You have to hit this. You have to hit that. Close out that call with the finisher. Boom, done.
Well,
it's the call sequencing model of wrestling.
Well, and that's something that permeates the entire industry. Let's not sit here and say it's just strictly WWE doing that. But the thing is, WWE and that's what I was going to say, is that to that point, WWE is much more shameless about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And to that very point, vintage Orton. Okay, every fucking time, like you said, it's shameless. It's boss time. It's the big dog. It's
my gosh,
everything. They don't fucking care. They're just like,
what though? Like, that's not a wrestling thing, guys. WWE's not a wrestling company, despite
I know. They're a sports entertainment company. Right. I get it.
That is branding. And I hate it just as much as you guys do. It's boss time. It's the head of the table. That's branding. That's how you get people to remember names. That's how you get people to buy merch.
I know.
It sucks, but I mean, honestly, it's a good business move. And we'll be the first to call out WWE on stupid wrestling things, but as a business, WWE knows what the hell they're doing. That's one thing I'll say.
I get it. I mean,
that harkens back to the last episode. I think it was the last episode when we said, do you think WWE is going to change whenever you start to see AEW, really picking things up? No, you're not going to see them change because They have that model. They have their branding model, their sports entertainment model. They're going to say the things that people are going to remember. They're going to make people buy merch, head of the table, boss time. That shit's going to be on t-shirts, and people are going to buy that shit. And as long as that's happening, WWE's model is not going to change. It doesn't matter what ratings are with AEW. It doesn't matter how high their ratings go. WWE has their model, and as long as their model's bringing in money, they're not changing shit.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. Fucking Vince's fucking ego, then, now, and forever.
Yeah, man, that's right. Speaking of then, now, and forever, it is that time in our formulaic model that we need to recognize either Pat or Dave, because those seem to be the only people that are sending in Stump the Chumps questions. And I've got to say, Pat's wife, can't remember your name, sorry.
Amber.
Denny, I gotta put Denny a little on blast here. He's competing for that cruiserweight title. Where's your Stump the Chumps questions there, Denny? Dos hermanos luchas. There's two of you. I'm sure between the two of you, you guys can come up with a decent Stump the Chumps question.
Oh, they'd grab lucha history and make us ruined. Yeah,
man.
Absolutely,
maybe we get a little more. Maybe we get a few more. Like, do it, man. Get us some lucha questions, man. Stump the shit out of us. Make us look like idiots. We need more people doing it. I appreciate Pat and Dave. I do. I'm not shitting on them. I'm just saying, I know there's more people out there involved. Let's get some more Stump the Chumps questions involved here, guys.
I think we enjoy being humbled every once in a while. Not maybe like Iron Sheik humbled, but you know.
No, you know what? I'm on the other side of the fence. I want people to send in their hardest questions so that we can beat their ass and then laugh at them on air. And now that we are breaking this up into chewable size chunks, I expect more people to listen and therefore more people to send these questions in. So send them in so that I and Ransom and Poot and Tom, but I can make you look like a dummy. Speaking of looking like a dummy,
wow.
Fuck this guy.
I love it. Heel beef is the best beef.
Drunk, no, not just heel beef. Drunk heel beef.
Yeah,
but you know what? I'll take sober heel beef or drunk heel beef. Those are better than face beef.
I had one beer at 7:00. I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly. I know how much of a lightweight you are.
You're drunk. It's white face baby beef.
White beef baby meat. Oh.
All right. So here's the question.
White beef.
What wrestler was originally considered for the gimmick of Mr. Perfect?
Oh, Terry Taylor. Terry Taylor.
I believe you are to be correct.
Oh, absolutely, Terry Taylor.
Who was this question from, anyway?
Pat.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, I mean, you know, in case we didn't already assume, it was from.
No. I said it. I said anyway. Here's Pat's question.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize.
You're not the only one that missed it, Ransom. No worries.
100%. I think Poot's correct. The only other name that runs in my mind is Rick Rude.
Nope.
But yeah, I think Poot's 100%.
Not even close.
I'm siding with you guys because I have no freaking idea.
I think I remember that being a thing. I think Poot's right in that it's
Terry
fumble fucking in the background.
Terry Taylor had a choice, and they came to him and they went, "All right, do you want to be?" They went, "You have your choice of gimmicks." I'm pretty sure they gave him a choice. They said, "You can either be Mr. Perfect or you can be the Red Rooster." And from my recollection, Terry Taylor chose the Red Rooster.
Good God, why?
I don't know.
You know what? I'm glad he did, though, because if he would have chosen Mr. Perfect, I don't know what garbage gimmick they would have given Kurt Hennig, but no one on this earth, I don't think, could have pulled off Mr. Perfect better than Kurt Hennig.
And not only that, but if Terry Taylor was Mr. Perfect and not the Red Rooster, God knows if he would have gotten the West Texas Rednecks, and Lord knows what a benefit they were. Because there's only one thing that I hate in this world, and it's a bunch of crap. It is rap. All right, so the answer. I think we're all in agreement on Terry Taylor here, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Before we get to the answer, a quick shout out to Ransom and the Frig Off Ransom channel. Thank you, Pat.
Wow.
Thanks, man. Always gets me through the bad days. Me too, man. Like, when I'm feeling down, I just watch Frig Off Ransom, and it always makes me happy, unless he's got me on blast, then it makes me sad and angry. The answer is Mr. Perfect was to be originally portrayed by Terry Taylor, a.k.a. the Red Rooster. You know what that means, Pat? You know what that means?
Yes.
They're peaked. They're peaked.
Here we go.
Oh,
I'm even doing like the rock thing with the microphone right now.
Oh,
Pat, we appreciate the submission, my dude.
shut up, Poop.
We are so thankful that you do participate in this, but my friend, once again, I must say that you lose, sir. You get nothing.
oh.
6 to midnight.
Hey, you know what? With this
Adam
win,
Cole debut followed by Bryan Danielson debut right there.
so I think I might have to go back and count, but I think with this win over Pat not stumping us, I think this puts us back at champs. I think we said like 5 in a row we were gonna.
Yeah,
That's
if it's
I thought
if
it
it's
was
5.
10.
I was recollecting 10 as well.
Oh, okay.
But if we're
I say we
if
set
we're-
the bar high.
Okay,
I'm good with that.
Agreed. We'll still jump it up, but
Oh, we're
not this
halfway
week
there.
because we got you, Pat. We got you. So once again, send in those questions. It's pittsburghpiledriverpodcast at gmail.com. 2 emails, one with the question, one with the answer. In the answer email, make sure to type in a couple of sentences of even just gibberish so that I don't see the answer in the preview window. Otherwise, you'll be disqualified and you will also get nothing, and we will also berate you on air.
Now listen, I got to say this. I know I put a few people on blast here before the Stump the Chumps questions. It's twofold. It's not that I just want more Stump the Chumps questions, but I want more people to be able to stump us so that we can get some more people to come on this show. I would love to have Denny on this show and pick his brain and hear what he has to say about AEW and WWE. I would love to have Dos Hermanos Luchas come on this show and really give us some good schooling about the history of the Luchas, some of their favorite matches, some of the best stars that they've ever seen, some of the merch that they've got. There's a lot of good stuff out there that I feel people can bring into the podcast on guest spots, and that's why I want more Stump the Chumps questions.
Well,
But you got to earn that shit. You got to earn that shit. We're not gonna let you walk on. You want a spot, you earn it.
since Poot the Bard upgraded his phone, and the camera's actually really good, I have had the offer multiple times, which very graciously from Dos Hermanos Lucha, I've had the offer to come to their what you would say their den of iniquity and take a look at their merch and talk to them, or not merch, but like their like pieces arguably of wrestling history, and have them talk about it and tell us, and I could easily, film that on my phone and have it be like a little side piece video.
Get some video on that shit. Put it up on the channel. I would watch the hell out of that.
Yeah. I have a coworker. I think I mentioned to you guys. I'll have to get on him to send in a question. But he was actually just asking me today. He's done some refereeing on the independent circuits and stuff like that. And so he asked me. He's like, "Hey, when are we gonna do the podcast thing?" I was like, "Let me talk to the fellas tonight." So that's what we're gonna talk about after we burrito this thing. Poot, are you ready to burrito?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm always ready to burrito, buddy.
Just go to work and tell him how he can get on the show, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Send in that question. That's how.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to the Pittsburgh Pile Driver Podcast. Yeah, last episode we didn't really thank the sponsors, and I apologize for that, but we're doing 2 episodes a week now. So suck it. We're kind of getting into this new ready to go kind of thing. Want to thank our sponsors, seriously. First of all, Mr. Tiger.
Uppercut.
Bomb Tom and his page Casual Gaming Dad over on Facebook, where he streams wonderful video games. We play Among Us on Tuesday nights. It's always a lot of fun. And make sure you follow his page, join Casual Gaming Dad's Corner, and watch him be an entertaining, lovely, lovely boy. We also want to thank Frig Off Ransom, our very own Ransom. We're doing all the in-house ones first, boys. Thank you to Frig Off Ransom and his channel. Again, as Beef said, he's hilarious. He's a lovely boy in his own right as well. Make sure you go and subscribe to Frig Off Ransom on YouTube. That's Frig Off Ransom. Okay, make sure you check that out. We also want to thank Gould Gaming, going back to Casual Gaming Dad here, where Casual Gaming Dad has his merch, and our very own Pittsburgh Pile Driver Podcast t-shirt. So again, go to gouldgaming.com, Gould, and make sure that you search on Casual Gaming Dad. Buy some of his merch. It's very, very cool and very, very high quality, if I do say so myself. And make sure that you get on that and get your very own P3 Podcast t-shirt. And it won't cost you $49.99, you idiots. It'll only cost you a reasonable amount. And we want to thank Mr. Sean Tischler and his continued work with independent wrestling in the Central and Greater Pennsylvania area. Seriously, Sean, from the bottom of our hearts, that's awesome. And keep kicking ass. For myself. Oh, we also want to thank you, listeners. Why not? Let's thank you, listeners. You're all lovely. We want to thank our own selves now. You ready? For myself, the Barbarian, the Bard, baby. For
Gimmick infringement.
Well, you know, it happens. For Ransom, the Madman over here. For one half of the Cruiserweight champions, Mr. Tiger.
Uppercut.
Bomb Tom. And, of course, our wrestling encyclopedia himself, Mr. Beef the Legend. Have a wonderful evening, day, or night whenever you listen to this podcast, especially for all you lovely people in North Carolina. Bye-bye.
So much gimmick infringement.